I was thinking about the art of conversation, and I scribbled some things down. Um, Quick Google searches, art of conversation, and what is the point of not what is the point of what you're trying to say, whatever you're trying to say. What is the point that I guess you're trying to convey to somebody? What is the thing that you want to tell them, right? What you usually want to do is explain it something to somebody and bring them along, right? I mean, this is conversation, not telling a story, right? Uh, this is conversation. So, what are we conversating about? Uh, I guess you could conversate about sports or politics. Those things go on forever. No one's ever a winner. But you could go off on a topic of, for instance, in the news this week, two kids shot at the cops with AR-15s, and the oldest boy and his 9-year-old sister, I want to say, uh, they had to shoot the sister, the 9-year-old, but the boy was arraigned, and he looked like any 12-year-old. And they're talking like a man one, like life in prison for a 14-year-old. So your conversation can be, are you going to really put a 14-year-old cherry face, sandy, blonde haired, blue eyed kid in jail with his now shot 9-year-old sister? Or are you going to start asking questions about? I think they had escaped from a group home and then broke into someone's home and then used those guns to shoot at the cops. Um, so yeah, whose fault is it? Is it children's fault? I mean, you can have this conversation, right? So in this conversation, I take the side that you can't treat children like that. So I'm trying to convey to you my, I guess, my feelings on the matter, as you are trying to convey to me why you don't think where I stand um, is right. Actually, that's not even true. You can have a conversation to both be in full agreement. Um, so maybe we're both agreeing that something is a hot mess here and should be looked into. But if you take the opposite view of, you know, you know what you did, you shot at the cops, life in prison for a 14-year-old, then you have to explain to me why that's the case, right? And then there's going to be give and take. So you're pulling info from each other, you're giving info to each other, um, and there are ways to talk, ways to get down, right? So I'm from a place where everybody talked at the same time. Somebody has a good point. There's always like a ringleader, a excuse me, like a host, unofficially. When you kick it with cats, right? So you're like on the street corner and you're talking. Well, I grew up like street corners first, and then like sit on our stoop and you just talk with your boys about the dreams of tomorrow, which was a big one back then. Man, because everybody had like low end jobs. I worked at Friendly's. My man worked at Herman's. It was just kind of like when you're first getting like these jobs, and hip hop was big. We knew some cats, and we just kind of like wonder what's going on, and other cats would be interested in computers at the dawn of that, and was telling us why computers was the thing, and they were going to get into that, and you asked them a lot of questions, and so that's how the conversation went. Some people held court, but if it's talking about something that everybody thought they knew about, which to me are like some of the best conversations. Oh, ooh, excuse me. This is water, ice water. Um, Ice water. So, so now everybody's in a place and not everybody's in agreement, right? So now you can really go back and forth. And let's say that topic is something, you know what? You ever have a group of men and women just go back and forth about something random and like crack each other up, make each other laugh? You know, those are the best because even though there's no order to it, everybody kind of gets heard. No one gets offended if you talk over them. Some people will finish other people's sentences, right? These are the people that you know how to get down with. Now, on platforms where you, oh, and the other thing about that is generally you're getting down with people that you know and you like, or even if you don't like them, you know them. Um, and there's a protocol. You're not gonna call anybody out their name, right? Unfortunately, Ted Hicks says, unfortunately, those days are long gone. Everything is ultra political, and or someone is offended. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Because in a get down, if you got up and said something stupid, everybody would be like, "Oh man, get the fuck out of here with that, man! What are you doing?" Everybody would do it, so you knew it was wrong. You knew your thinking was already down the wrong path. So here in this environment of platforms, what's up, Takara? On in platforms, you're thrown in with a lot of cats you don't know, right? So cats are in their feelings, some are in their bottles as they're in their apartments, and they will get completely out of pocket. It's stuff that you would not say. Let's say if this was a barbecue and we're all just kicking it, right? A good barbecue. I love a barbecue metaphor because everybody's there. You're there. You may be there with your boyfriend or your husband or your kids, right? You got kids running around at your feet. You got your elders there sitting to the sideline talking about the old days. You got like some of the young dudes trying to, you know, preen, I guess. You got like your uncle's barbecue. You got all this going on. If you have this conversation in that environment, you are not going to say some of the wildness said to me on these platforms, right? Just because, one, I'm in arm's reach of you. That's the first one. Two, you would have a sense of, even if you don't know these people, let me carry myself in a certain way, right? My mom used to tell me when I started going out by myself. My mom had this quote for all of us: "You mind your business. You go out there, you mind your business." I don't know what she meant by that. It was just kind of like, go out there, you mind. She told it to all her kids, right? My mom had a lot of these like great one-liners that we all go back and forth about. Uh, Hi, mom, if you're watching. So yes, but you go out there, you mind your business, right? Um, that's what it is. So when you go out there, you represent the family. Don't get into no trouble. Don't do anything stupid. Don't embarrass his house. Embarrass his family. What's wrong with you, right? All right. So now I walk through the world in a certain way because when I was little, I was told to carry myself and walk through the world in a certain way, right? You're not going to talk to anybody any way you want because you're in your house, in your bottle, in your feelings, right? And call it a conversation. So you get that in this thing, right? So a lot of people don't know simply the art of conversation. Uh, hey, Jason Terulio, I want to get that right. What's up, Miss T? Okay, he's saying hey to you. Um, so yeah, so the art of conversation is is one of the first things you should know. I mean, the human animal, I hate to say it, is a pack animal. We are tribe animal. You got to know who you're talking to, how to talk to them. I got some big ass homies. My man Pod is like freaking 6'7". Now I can talk to him like that because Pod is a giant bear, right? A tough, cool ass dude. But I know him. Now, if I'm walking down the street and I'm furthermore, I'm not gonna bump into him because he's a giant. I'm gonna see him. I'm gonna get out of his way. But if we somehow get into conflict about something, I'm only going to push that shit so far because one, like I said, you are in arm's reach of cats, so you have to. So you can still say your point, but you may be a little more diplomatic, right? Like, and the same thing um, with children. You may have to converse totally separately with like your wild ass daughter versus your calm ass son, right? It's just, but you're not. And this, and I've seen some really bad parents who just call them nigga, get the fuck over here, and blah, blah, blah. You're like, oh man, that kid is going to be a problem when he is an adult, and I think you're seeing it. So, what is the art of conversation? One, it's not a lecture. This is me holding the podium. I'm not conversating with anyone. I'm sort of holding the floor, asking you to watch and listen to me, right? So this isn't a conversation. Uh, a conversation, like I said earlier, is give and take back and forth, and there are rules to that. And like I said, also when you say goofy stuff in a big room of people, um, everybody can go whatever. But all the you have to gatekeep and hold your turn and conversate. Like I think you need to conversate. Uh, I was growing up. You need to be able to hang in the conversation. If you can't get a word in, then that's on you. Nobody's going to stop and all be quiet and listen to you, unless you're a child. We've done that several times, right? But yeah, but that's the way I get down. So maybe other people, I wouldn't call it kicking it, but they get down in a totally separate and completely different way, which is okay. I'll say my piece, and then I will sit here and then you will say your piece, and then Bob, you will go after him, and then by the time that's done, you forgot the original topic. People will wander off. I don't want to sit and be like listen to everybody's small, essentially tiny little monologues about it. I want to see who's got because sometimes you'll spark somebody else's thought, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah," or you'll tell somebody something they didn't know. Is that right? Is that true? Is that for real? Yeah, man, that's for real. Wow. So now you're out here arguing with half the information, and you just got some in the argument. But you got to listen. You gotta put it out there like as you see the world. Your experiences are valid. Uh, in my bag, I'm in my bag yet. This is my first one. Still got two ice cubes in it, and it's melting. Uh, so, oh wow. So yeah. Oh, I'm sorry that I mangled that name. TruElo. Okay. Um, Again, I apologize for mangling it. Yeah, and please, by all means, you're supposed to be able to be corrected, right? I've been told stuff that I thought was right, and I was like, really? Because you know what? One thing I love to do. One, I love to talk to people. I love to conversate, and I love to chit chat. I'm perpetually chit chatty and trying to be easy, but like on platforms, everybody conversates differently. Some people don't know the art of conversation at all. They want to show up and be dark to you, tell you how stupid you are if you don't see the world their way. And other people, you know, they're really zen and not zen, but they're not as forceful with their argument. And you want to hear from them too, but you're not going to tell everybody to be quiet while they get in. So I mean that's that's my take on 13 minutes. Ooh, man, I'm under the wire by like a little bit. Uh, so yeah, 13 seconds left. I guess that's the broadcast. I'd like to thank you all for swinging through. I'll be on later today. Uh, there will be a different 13 minutes tomorrow between 2 and 7, I want to say. Uh, I hope you liked it and please, I'd love to conversate with you. Thank you. Have a good night. And like I said, I'll see some of you